The temple.
The wall of the temple, which one? The first or the second? Herod. A wall of Herod's temple. Okay, I see that you did learn about it. Very good. So a common mistake is to think that the wall is a wall of the temple itself. It's not. It's one of the walls around the Temple Mount. Now why? Why it was necessary to build a wall around the Temple Mount? Let's say this is Mount Moriah, okay? This is the crest of the mountain. When Solomon built his temple, Solomon's temple was a small building, so the crest of the mountain was big enough for a small building. When Herod built his temple, he needed retaining walls to create a plateau here. And on top of this plateau, he built the temple. So the western wall is the western retaining wall of the temple area. So why people pray here if it's not a wall of the temple? This is the closest we can get to the Holy of Holies. Now at the end of today, actually in about a couple of hours, each and every one of you will be able to give a lecture about the subject of the Western Wall. Because when we will visit the tunnels, they have all kind of models over there that will make it so clear that all of you will understand it clearly. I'm sure that you've seen picture of this wall here. And I'm sure that most of you think that this is the Western Wall. Yeah? But I have to tell you that what you see here is 10% of the Western Wall. Only 10%. So why people pray here and not in the other 90%? Because the other 90% were under the ground until the excavations. This part was always above ground. I don't know any other place in the world that 24/7 there is always presence of people praying. If you'll not feel like sleeping tonight, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you can come here and I guarantee that you'll see people pray. Now this part of the wall is under the control of Orthodox Judaism, and that's why there is a separation here in the middle. And the ladies section entrance is from here, and the men section entrance is from there. Men need head cover, not ladies. If you want you can cover, but for men it's required. I see that all of you have it. Anyhow, if you want to pray together by the wall, you can do it in the tour of the tunnels. Because in the tour of the tunnels, I will show you 80% of the Western Wall. Here it's only 10%. In the tunnels, I will show you 80% of the Western Wall. And over there, men and women can be together. And tomorrow probably I will show you the last 10%. You see from this bridge to the corner over there. You see far away there a corner. This is 10% of the Western Wall. From this bridge to the corner there is another 10%. And 80% we will see when we will visit the tunnels. Now the entrance to the tunnels, you see the arch over there, the big arch past the umbrella. All can see there is an arrow. An arrow.
Yes.
All can see it? Yes. 4 windows, under the 4 windows.
Yes.
A big arch. Now, it is 12 o'clock now. You can take 15 minutes to go to the wall. 12:15, we're going to meet under this arch. Okay, because 12:20, we have reservations to go to the temple. That's a simple model, but very effective to understand what happened on the Temple Mount. Here you can see the Temple Mount before anything was built here. That's the topography of the Temple Mount. And we know God told Abraham, take your son, your only son, the son that you love, and God directed Abraham to this point over here. This is the place where Abraham bided Isaac and was ready to give Isaac as a sacrifice. That's the reason that later the temple was built here. Now the first temple, Solomon's temple, was small. So they could build the temple right here without changing the topography. The first temple was destroyed 586 by the Babylonians, the children of Israel were taken to captivity. They came back, led by Ezra and Nehemiah, and Zerubbabel built another temple instead of the destroyed one. And that's the beginning of what we call the second temple. Now we come to Herod time. In Herod's life, nothing was small. You already know. You've seen Caesarea, you'll see many other projects of Herod. Everything he built was big. Now, how can you build something big on an uneven area? You have to create a plateau. One thing that disturbed Herod was this piece of rock that was higher than this area. So the first thing he did, and took him 2 years, to cut this part of the mountain. I'm better than Herod, I will do it in 2 seconds, you see? And then he built the retaining walls. He built the southern wall, the eastern wall with the eastern gate that we will see, the northern wall, and here I'm sure that now you clearly understand what is the western wall. All the way about 1/3 of a mile long from here to here, this is the western wall. Now the place where people pray is only this small part between my 2 fingers. And here you have a separation, and you have men's section and ladies section. Here, after the excavation, in this part, that we will also visit one of the days, here men and women can go together. And the same thing here, all this area, men and women can go and pray together. And in all these places you can put notes of request, like you could see over there. But it's not only in this 10%, it's also in this 10%, and also in this 80%. You will see many notes that people put in the wall. So after the plateau was completed, the temple was built. I will try to put the temple in the right location. Why I think that this is the right location? Because here we found the eastern gate. And the eastern gate was a straight line with all the other gates. The gate of Nicanor and the Golden Gate and so on. So this is the way Jesus have seen the Temple Mount. This is the Temple Mount in Jesus' time. Now, this building was destroyed in the year 70. We even know the exact date. Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the month of Av, according to the Jewish calendar. Till today, Jews all over the world mourn on that day. And according to Josephus Flavius, the historian of that time, the Romans did such a good job destroying it that they did not even leave one stone on top of the other. Only ruins. And the place was in ruins for 621 years. Do you have calculators with you? 621 plus 70 is 691. Without calculator, that's good. So 691, Muslims were in this area, and they built this structure that exists on the Temple Mount till today. So from the 7th century and on, this building is on the Temple Mount. You have seen it as we enter Jerusalem. We will see it again. We will walk next to it and so on. Now, when this became a Muslim religious center, many Muslims wanted to come and live as close as possible to their religious center. But nobody liked to live in a valley. You see, people like to live in an elevated area. So they built big arches here, and on top of these big arches, they built this Muslim neighborhood. You see? And this is the situation right for today. This is the plaza that you prayed outside. Now here, Muslim neighborhood. Before 1967, we could not even dream about excavating someplace here because it was all under Jordanians' control. 1967, we took control, but no one will let us excavate here. First of all, the Muslims will not let us. Secondly, the religious Jews will not let archaeologists dig in the Holy of Holies area. but we felt that we have the right to excavate around the Temple Mount. So we excavated over here and we found the southern steps. It's on your itinerary, I will show it to you. And here we had a problem. To excavate here we have to destroy all this Arab neighborhood. But we did not want to destroy, so what we did, we dug a tunnel under the Arab neighborhood, and this is the tunnel that we are going to see. So the tunnel we've seen before today is an ancient tunnel. The tunnel you see here is not old. We started to dig in the early 70s and we ended it in the year 2000. But this enabled us to see 80% of the wall that was under the ground all the time. Now this building and the temple were never together on the Temple Mount. But just for the sake of the explanation, I will put back the temple. This building is very big and impressive. When you will walk next to it, you'll see it is huge. It is parallel to a building of 9 stories high. But have a look. This was 2.5 times higher. This is equal to a building of 22 stories high. More or less, your hotel. A little bit less than your hotel. Can you imagine what a huge building was it? That was really something to admire. That's why not only Jews came to the temple, Gentiles also came, and I will show you what was called the Gentiles' court. Gentiles could come till a certain point to admire the beauty of the temple. Okay, you start to understand, you start to feel that you have good understanding of these things.